With us today from Mida Solutions, Gianni, what are the changes that we're seeing in technologies that enable contact centers?
Well, Eric, we are sort of facing a revolution in this field. If I think about 5 years ago, this world was dominated by Cisco, by Avayas, by those big companies, the big guys, as we could call them, and Microsoft was sort of starting with things like Lynch or Skype for Business, but there was not much conviction on their side. Now, what we've seen recently, probably in the last 1 year, 1.5 years, Microsoft has become more and more serious with their Teams program and trying to evolve Teams from a basic, cooperation tool for the corporate into a real serious game for handling calls, and thus, they are positioning themselves as a good candidate for taking also the call center space, and they've attracted a lot of attention on this.
What do actually Microsoft offer in this space?
Well, they are offering a full cloud solution, and that's clearly a bold step forward compared with the past. And they are offering what they used to have with Skype for Business, so basic cooperation inside the corporate between employees with file sharing and so on. But now they are also moving towards the outside, towards the PSTN, with the possibility of having good connectivity with the outside world. Let me define it. So with the fixed and mobile network.
So we're stepping out from just IP telephony to the wide world of telephonic communications. Do they have an API that allows for this connectivity?
Well, sort of. They've made a lot of promises, in the last year or so, and they have, a lot of APIs. But I must say that the general API for call management, call management in general, is still lacking. We believe that they will be releasing an API next year, but you never know until we see it.
Is there a risk, a technical risk, migrating your contact center to the cloud? How long does this project usually take?
Well, it really depends on the platform we are going to use. Here in Mida, we've really worked hard to make our contact center very, very easy to install. There have been cases where in one day or even less, we've been able to do all the main configuration and deployment. We rely on virtual machine approach, so it's really native to Teams to some extent. And it's very easy for us to be quick and effective in the deployment phase.
That sounds very interesting. There's almost no reason I see to have a contact center on-premise when on-cloud installations are so easy today. I've heard that Microsoft Teams have an attendant console, but that console is kind of basic and lacking in functionality. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, so it's not really an attendant console. It's the native client that everybody uses to use Teams to pick up calls or to call a colleague or whatever. So what you get is a pop-up window notifying you that a call is incoming. You can answer it, and when you answer the call, you have this floating window which tells you who is calling you. In the case of a contact center, it would probably show you the name of the service from which the person is calling you. And then what you can do is, as I said before, basic things. You can forward the call to a colleague. You can put the call on hold, and you can do what we call a consult transfer. A consult transfer is basically before transferring the call to a colleague, you want to talk to the colleague and perhaps understand if he's free or not. Apart from this, there's nothing else. You can't easily transfer, for example, to a number you have in your directory. You have to probably dial it. You can't, if you put one thing that we discovered, if you put the call on hold, there's no music, okay? Normally, you know, when I put you on hold on a normal telephone service, you hear some music in the background that helps you waiting, if you want. But there's nothing like that. Other things which are lacking from a contact center point of view, there's no way for, if you're using very basic Teams functionality, there's no way of injecting messages during the call, which is important when someone is waiting in the queue. You want, you want to give them some messages every now and then to say, okay, you're waiting, but yeah, we are busy, please hold on, bear with us, we'll be with you shortly, things like that, or welcome messages, for example. All these functionalities, they're not available in the normal Teams environment.
And so what you do is you complement the Teams infrastructure with a richer contact center and attendant solution.
Yes, exactly. It's a combination of the two, of course. It's not only the attendant console. The contact center core engine will provide all the rich messaging to the waiting persons. Other functionalities like, for example, you get into a queue and you can, with our contact center, you can inject a message saying you are sixth in the queue. And so, the person has an idea how long they have to wait. Other things that I'm thinking about, for example, from an operator point of view, from an agent point of view, that we have a functionality that we call the after call work. So typically, imagine you're handling a call, you talk with a customer, then when the call is closed, you need many times you need to do some administrative work, like opening a ticket or taking notes of what you agreed with the customer. During this time, you don't want to be tampered with other calls incoming. And we have this functionality. You can define a period, like a 2-minute period, that the agent will not be contacted again after closing a call.
So they have the time for a call wrap-up and summary.
Correct, exactly. So it's this perhaps little functionality which is not known outside of the call center environment, but that make the tool really usable by a real call center agent.
Gianni, how do you see the future of call centers 2 or 3 or even 5 years from now?
Well, 5 years is a very long stretch to be able to predict, but definitely if Microsoft will continue to be serious, to prove they really have a vision and they want to follow up on that vision, we are going to see a sort of a revolution, I would say, as I was saying at the beginning. So I see Microsoft playing a more important role among the big guys that I was mentioning before, the Ciscos, the Avayas, and the Alcatels. And we will probably see more and more companies being attracted by the Teams, let's say the Teams revolution. And many of the existing companies will probably have to rethink their strategy.
Thank you very much, Gianni. It's been very interesting.
You're welcome, Eric. It's been very fun having a call with you.
Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.